Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful pattern gathered skirt with waistband. So here you can see what I came out with. It actually have gathers on the both sides. So I'll be teaching you how to sew this skirt. I'll share the tips and tricks to making these gathers into these corners. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial. So you can see I have a zipper at the back and I have my ruche on the sides. Please stay tuned for this tutorial. So the first thing we are going to do right now is to draft out the pattern of the front skirt. So here is my waist. I'm going to measure my hip height at 9 inches. Then I'm going to take my knee line at 18 inches and the full length I'm using 28 inches. So the full length of this skirt, you can make it 30, you can make it 32 or 35 if you want it longer. Okay, so here is my hip and this is my knee and this is the full length of this skirt. So my waist divided by 4 I marked, my hip divided by 4 I marked it on the hip line, and I also mark what I have on the hip line, on the knee line and on the hem line. And I'm going to connect it with a straight line. Then I'm going to connect from the hip to the waistline. So my pattern is ready right now. So this pattern is for center front and center back. So I'm going to come down by 5 inches. So I'll come down by 5 inches and come in by 5.5 on the hip line and come in by 4 inches on the hem line. So I'm going to connect from the 5.5 on the hip line to the 4 inches and then connect it back to the side. So my pattern ruler is not actually giving me what I want, so I'll just freehand that part anyway. From that 5 inches, I'm going to connect it to the 5.5 inches on the hip line just to make that curve. So make sure you make that curve without pointy parts. So here is my curve and that is just the pattern we want. So next is to go ahead to cut out that part, and that is what we are going to use to cut the front and the basket before attaching our gathers. So I place it on my fabric right now. I want to cut out the front piece first, so I secured with my pin right here. So I actually extended the length of this skirt because my paper was at 25 inches, so I added more inches. I use 28 inches, but like I said, if you want it longer you can use 30, 32 inches or even 35 inches. So here I'm adding my seam allowance at 1.5 inches on the side and ½ inch on the waistline. So I'm going to cut out, as you can see. So here the pattern is ready. So for the back piece, I created the zipper line. So I placed the center front on the zipper line of 1 inch. My zipper line is 1 inch. So you can see I placed my pattern right on the zipper line right there. So now I'm going to trace out. So after tracing out the sides, I want to contour the zipper line. So from the waist to the hip line, I'm going to contour it. So I'm extending the hip line and the waistline. So I'm contouring it on the waistline by 1 inch. So you can see how I slanted my ruler from 1 inch to nothing on the hip line. So that is going to be the zip contour line. So I'm going to replace what I had on that 1 inch on the waistline. I will go to the side and mark my 1 inch. That is the replacement. So I'll just go ahead, add 1 inch and connect it to nothing to the hip line on the side. Okay. So I'll just connect it, as you can see. So all your replacement, just take note of it and connect. Then I added ½ inch to this and I also extended the length. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the back piece right now. So the back piece is the part that has the zipper, and like I said, I contoured only the waistline with 1 inch, so that part laps very well on the waist. So I'm cutting out the center back right now and I'm going to cut out the contour line. So you can see the contour line. So don't forget to contour that part to give it a very fine look at the back. So here my patterns are ready for front and back. So the next thing we'll do now is to proceed to the sewing. So I made a notch at the center front. So I'm going to take the measurement of the ruche part. So this is how I took the measurement. I took it to the length from the side. So I got 27 inches. You multiply it by 2. Mine is 54. So this 54 right now, because of the ruche, I will multiply by 2.5. So I got 135, which is about 3 yards. So I actually use 3 yards anyway. So you can use 2.5 inches. It depends on your calculation. So the length, the width is 135 inches. Then the length, this is how you are going to measure the length. From that point that we are going to attach the ruche, measure it to the hem. So whatever thing you have is your length. So mine is 25 inches. So yours might be more than 25 inches if it's a long dress. But if you are making a longer skirt of this, please don't use Ankara, because Ankara has a short length. If you use damask, damask will give you a longer length. So now I'm going to join the center back to add my zipper. So I'll just go ahead and measure my zip, and then I'm going to sew 1 inch for my center back zip. Then later I'm going to attach my zip as well. So my zip fold at 8 inches. So here my zip is ready. I've attached it, and my lining is ready. I did not sew the zip for the lining. So I'm going to match the right side of the fabric to the right side of the back for this. So just to sew this side anyway. So the side I'm going to sew at 1.5 inch. The lining, I also match them together to sew the size. So after sewing the size, this is what I got right here. So I also stitched for the lining too. So I'm turning it to the right side right now, the main dress to the right side, so we can be able to sew the zipper together with the lining. So here is my lining. So I'm going to put the main dress into the lining so they match right side to right side. So this right side, I'm going to pick up the zipper part right now, and I'll place them right side to right side, and I'll head over to the sewing machine to follow the stitches I have already on the main dress for the zipper and stitch for the lining. So I first secured it with my pin, so when sewing it on the machine, it's going to be very easy for me to follow. So I'll follow the stitches now, and I'll repeat the same thing the other way, just to have a perfect inseam finishing in that part. So here is what I got, perfect inseam finishing. So I'm going to reduce my lining by 1 inch. So I'll cut it off by 1 inch. So we'll also be able to have a perfect inseam finishing there too. So this is the wrong side of the dress, so I'll just twist it to the right side and stitch at 1/2 inch. I'll do the same for the back too. I'm going to twist it to the right side and stitch the wrong side. So here is what I got after I'm done stitching. So you can see that part is looking neat. So next is to secure the lining and your fabric with your pins. So I'm going to hold it down with my pins, and I'm going to stitch at 1/2 inch accordingly. So here is what I got. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring the gathered part of this dress. So like I said, I'm using Ankara. I'm using 3 yards of Ankara for this. So if you are using damask, it will give you a longer length than Ankara. Ankara comes at length 45 inches. So when I folded it, I got about 22.5 inches. So that made the skirt short. So I will encourage you to use a fabric that has a longer length. So I placed my Ankara into 2 equal parts like this, because we are going to put it on the 2 sides. So I folded it into 2 equal parts, after which I folded the edges again, making it 4 times. So you can see how I'm folding it. So I folded it the 4th time, and these are the edges. You can see I have 4 pieces on the edges. So these 4 pieces on the edges right now, that is the part we are going to sew in. So the part that is folded, or the part that is open, that is where we are going to place the pattern. The open part is the place we are going to place the pattern. So you can see how I'm placing my pattern. So I want you to watch very well to see how I place this pattern. I place the pattern at the upper edge. Okay, it will be at the upper edge like this. So you mark 15 inches on your pattern. So the curvy part is going to start from 15 inches, the ruche part. So from the center of this dress, I connected. So that is how I'm going to cut it. So I cut it on that line. I tried making another line anyway, but it did not work. So I cut it at the 15 inches and it made sense for me. So here I made a notch at the side that is going to be on the side. So I'll go ahead and gather it. So I'm done gathering one part and I'll show you how I gathered it. So I want you to pay attention to see how this is gathered. So I brought the side that I want to gather right now and I took the measurement of 15 inches and made a notch. Make sure you have it at 15 inches, then you make your notch. Then I'll bring back the fabric. I'll also make a notch at that 15 inches where I started to curve it. So I also made a notch. They are two together. So I'll go ahead and make a notch to it. So that part we are going to sew it straight. The ruche or the gathers will start after the 15 inches. So this is the center. I'm going to put a pin to the center. Very important, because the center is going to be by the side of this dress. So I'm done gathering. So my pin is at the center. So I'm going to spread the dress right now and secure the center to the side. The center of the gathers, secure it to the side. That's why you have your pin there. So now I'll head over to the machine now and I'm going to stitch accordingly. So I also marked the 15 inches point to the 15 inches on the dress. That part is going to have a straight stitches. So I secure it like that. So I will sew straight and then I'll begin to gather to the center front. I will do the same the other way. So this is what I got after I'm done stitching. So you can see the dress is very much ready. So I left 1 inch on that part, so to fold that part. So you can see I left 1 inch for the folding. So I'm going to cut out the excess. There will be some longer lengths because you know this part is curvy. So just make it straight the way I'm straightening it. So you can see the part that is longer than the other. We are going to cut it off right now. So I'll just go ahead and use my scissors and follow that edge and cut it off. So you can see it's straight right now and it's matching up. So I also did the same on this other side. I put them together and I'm also going to cut it off accordingly. So I just go ahead and cut it off. So after cutting it off, the next thing we are going to do now is to hem that part. So, and after hemming, then the next is to fix your band. So I measured round my band and I got at 8 inches, which is my waistline. So my band, I hasted it and I have 40 inches. So I just cut it. I added 2 inches to it. So the width of my band or length of my band is 7 inches. The width of my band anyway, and the length is 40 inches. So I folded half an inch of the part and I'm going to sew half an inch on the sides. So after sewing half an inch, this is what I got right here. I know you know how to sew bands to skirt anyway. So now I will place it wrong side to right side and sew the inner at half an inch. After sewing the inner, this is what I got. So the folded half an inch part, I'm going to use it to top stitch at the front. So I gently turned it to the right side right now, so I'll be able to use the 1/2 inch I pressed to top stitch on the band. So I went ahead to top stitch, and this is what our skirt looks like. I hope this skirt is very much beautiful. So I'm going to add my hook, my skirt hook at the back, and that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. So don't forget to hem this part. Leave 1 inch to be able to hem. So you use the 1 inch to hem that part, okay? So the dress is very much ready. I believe our skirt is beautiful. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe and turn on your notification bell to receive more videos. Thank you.